Hi, Danielle.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, doing good. I can't believe it's already like another week has gone by. I'm like, where does the time go?
I know. I'm so glad that you have a chance during your busy day to jump on and chat with us for a little bit because I think the digestion videos are just so valuable. And I think the more people are learning about, what it is that you focus on, like the better. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. Definitely. Yeah, I think there's just so much that needs to be heard on digestion. I think it's good the way that we do it so people can take some time and absorb it because all at once it's really hard. Your brain is trying to remember all the things. So I think it's great that we do these little segments too. Super helpful.
No, absolutely. And so speaking of that, like on a conversation you and I had, or have had a few times, like we talked about stomach acid. And I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't understand how important it is and like how we have all different levels of it and how, it affects us and what it's good for and how to like increase it and all those things. So I thought today it would be amazing if you could share like a little insight on just all about that and how it plays into digestion and just wellness in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's such a really, really good topic. Stomach acid is so important. So, the easiest way to kind of think about it is stomach acid is what your skin is to your body. So, your skin is your outer protective layer, right? So, like anything that you come in contact, whether it's the sun, a mosquito bite, if you cut yourself, right? Anything, the skin is your outer protective layer against any type of like infection, bacteria, anything like that, right? So, stomach acid is that exact same thing for your body internally. So, as you're consuming food, when you're breathing, when you're drinking water or any other type of liquid or food, that is everything is going in and it's first entering your stomach acid. And if you have low levels, then whatever, if there's like a contaminant or anything that could harm your body, that's actually going to pass through and it's going to go into the small intestine and then into the cells of your body. So that's really why we want to always have sufficient levels of stomach acid, mainly, obviously, that first one, but also to break down your food. But really, it is that protective barrier for your body internally. So if God forbid you were ever to eat something that was contaminated with like E. coli or salmonella, or have a parasite, ideally you would have sufficient stomach acid. So when you do ingest that, it's going to die as soon as it hits that acidic content. So in a typical, I would say, average person that has sufficient stomach acid, you would actually be able to open up the stomach and it would burn through anything. Like if you were to squirt it on anything, it would absolutely burn through wood, tile, any type of material. It is that highly acidic. So we really want our levels to be in that optimal range at all times. The pH should be right around 3.2 is ideal. 3.2 to 3.5 is really where you want the pH of the stomach to be, the stomach acid. So over time, and there's so many different ways why your
Like, how
stomach
would you
acid
test that?
levels. What happened?
Like, how would you know what yours is?
How would you know? Yeah. So you don't, you wouldn't know outright, like if you have exact, if
No.
your
Okay.
pH is exactly that. There are tests that you could do with a doctor where they would actually send down like on a string and they would dip, yeah, like in that's uncomfortable. Nobody wants to do that. So there are signs
Okay.
that you are significantly low. Um, that would look like things like belching right after meals. So within an hour is what we say. So if any of these things happen within an hour after a meal, then I would look towards stomach acid first and make sure that you have sufficient levels. So belching, gas, bloating, indigestion is a huge one. And I think that's the one that is the biggest misconception because people immediately think, oh, I have too much acid and that's why I'm in, having indigestion or acid reflux. And that is actually the exact opposite. You actually have too low stomach acid when you're experiencing those two things. So what happens is that when you are consuming the food and you don't have enough acid, that food can't get broken down, right? Like that actually makes sense because the acid breaks down the food So if you have low stomach acid, the food is going to sit at that, bottom of the esophagus, right at the top of your stomach, and it's not going to be able to actually drop into the stomach, and so you will come back up, and that's what you're feeling because it has to go somewhere. So that is like a clear sign that you have low stomach acid. I would say those are like probably the biggest ones to look for sure. And like I said, the biggest one is definitely the indigestion, the acid reflux for sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then what if you do notice that you have it and you have these symptoms? Like, can you fix it yourself? Should you talk to someone like you? Should you go to a doctor? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I would say, I think the first thing too, I want to say is why people are always like, why does it happen? Right? Like, why do I have low stomach acid? And there's so many different reasons, from everything from antibiotic use, which could have been even like you as a child. That still affects your stomach acid levels now, because you have to think, like, unless you replenish those levels and you took antibiotics a lot as a child or throughout childhood or even adulthood, then your levels are probably still chronically low, right? Because you never were able to replenish those. So antibiotic use is a huge one. Certain over-the-counter pain medications also will diminish stomach acid production. The biggest thing is also a zinc deficiency. So if you're super low in zinc, zinc is the mineral that hydrochloric acid is made from. So if you are chronically low in zinc, then your body will not be able to produce hydrochloric acid. As we age, our production also goes down naturally. So that's something to look for. And then also certain medications, things like birth control pills, other pills, they also inhibit the hydrochloric acid production as well. So those are kind of like the biggest things I hear, like, why is this happening? I would say those are the biggest reasons for sure. And there certainly are tons of other things too. If you have gut bacteria, overgrowth, pathogens, that can affect it as well. And yes, so if you have those symptoms and you're like, well, I want to try something at home first before I'm going to a supplement, that's cool. You totally can. The best thing to do is start with 1 to 2 tablespoons, and just do it as tolerable, of apple cider vinegar and about 3 to 4 tablespoons of water. And you would drink that immediately before consuming your meal. So you just want to have it right before you have your meal. And see if that helps. If that does help your symptoms, then continue doing that for a little while until your symptoms start to diminish or completely disappear. However, if you do that and you notice it either irritates you, it makes things worse, or you don't notice any change, then I would say that's the time that you would want to work with a nutritional therapy practitioner or a holistic nutritionist, whoever you are currently trusting. But that's when you would definitely want to work with somebody.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
That's awesome. And then you would look at like supplements or other protocols to like help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you would definitely start to look at supplements and just seeing what other type of symptoms the client is experiencing, because everyone is bio-individual. So if someone, like, if that apple cider vinegar, if that irritated their stomach, so that would be a clear sign to me that probably need to go a different route, like starting with some aloe vera and some bone broth, like really trying to get in some healing nutrients into the stomach, because it's probably just been irritated for so long that it can't even tolerate those very low acidic ingredients to try and bring up the level. So everyone is totally different, but I definitely would suggest working with someone before just Googling like hydrochloric acid supplement and doing that on your own, because it is a very unique process. And you absolutely do not want to overwhelm the body and overdo it on a supplement like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't really get it from foods except for apple cider vinegar is like the best.
Yeah. Well, you're not getting it from apple cider vinegar either. That's just stimulating the stomach to start and
Yeah.
produce it. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah. So you
it's
actually, yep. Yeah, it doesn't come from any foods at all. Your body has to actually produce it on its own with using zinc as a mineral. So zinc actually does assist the body in producing hydrochloric acid. So like I said, if you have chronically low levels of zinc, then that's going to mean you probably have chronically low levels of HCl as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of, and that's hard. Like there aren't really significant signs of zinc deficiency. I mean, there's certainly things here and there, but like I said, it could be so many things. Everyone is so different. So I would suggest starting with the ACV first, see how you tolerate that. And then if you're still having symptoms and signs, then that's when I would just do a consult and try and work with somebody so you can get your levels up to sufficient, sufficient status, especially if you're someone who's like consuming a lot of sushi, like raw fish, or if you're traveling a lot, going out of the country, like that's times when you absolutely want to be sure that you have really good levels of HCl, because you don't know, like when you're going to other countries, you have no idea like what type of food, water, whatever is in your drinks. You want to make sure that if you were to ingest something that's going to bring harm to your body, that it's going to kill it on contact.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good. I have a couple specific clients that I think should explore this a little further because yeah, it's just something that you honestly, I mean, I don't pay much attention to. And so I know that we've chatted about it before and it's like, oh my goodness, this should be more common knowledge? So
Yeah, I think most people have no idea about it. I think also too, when you hear like hydrochloric acid sounds terrifying, people are
right,
like, I
I'm
don't
not
want
doing
that in my body,
it. Yes.
which is
And
not the
people just
case,
expect
so
stomach acid to be there and work. Like it's
exactly. Yeah, it has to be there. I would say too, I forgot, if you're having a hard time breaking down protein, so like if you're consuming protein of any type, and you feel really bad eating it. So I don't know if you have any vegan clients or people that like were consuming protein and went vegan for that reason. That is like the big red flag where your body's saying, I desperately need HCl, because that is the first part that protein's broken down is in the stomach with the stomach acid. So that's another clear sign that I just popped into my head.
yeah, okay, that's so helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then of course people can message you if they have more specific
Hmm.
information or like your page where you offer
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely, yeah, you can go. I'm still kind of revamping the website, but now there is a great little spot on there where you can just set up free 15-minute calls with me. So the calendar's on there and you just put in your information, set up a time. And then also, if you do want to order any testing, that option is now available as well. So yeah, so it's totally on there. But yeah, if you have questions, people comment on the video, definitely tag me so I see it and
Awesome.
I will get back to you for sure. But yeah, it's definitely a very important aspect of optimizing digestion.
Yeah, and one that we just take for granted probably because we don't
Hmm.
pay attention.
Yeah,
Or like you
absolutely.
said, we
Yeah.
treat it the wrong way. We take Tums or something because we think that we don't
Yeah.
having too much.
Yes. Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's really, and you hear that. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. So many people will just start like popping tons. And I was that person too, taking loads of Tums. And I just didn't understand why, like, why was I getting this indigestion? And it just felt so bad. And so, yeah. And it is definitely something that it is safe to take, if you're trying to get pregnant or during pregnancy, it is safe also. So there's no issue with that too. So just to mention, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I appreciate your time. And yeah,
Yeah.
definitely I'll send anyone your way that is, looking to dive a little more into this or feels like, it might be affecting them. So sounds
Yeah.
good.
No, that sounds great. Yeah. Feel free to reach out anytime.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And I look forward to our chat next week.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a
All
good
right. You
day.
too. Bye.
Bye.